Okay, video 27, 50 and 50. We're back here, and thanks to Netix for the support in putting this together. Cattle and I suppose beef cattle, suckler cows and minerals. Get a few questions on that, and I'm trying to combine this with the questions I got about how do you sample for minerals. How do I know what my farm is like? And the rules probably apply to both dairy, beef and everything. But look at beef farming. Minerals play a role. They cause some symptoms. They aren't the cause of everything. So mineral deficiencies don't cause all your problems. We need to kind of get an idea of what's happening on the farm. And we'll talk about, look, autumn time, housing over winter, spring, calving, grass, what samples you might take. But when you're talking about minerals, really important thing I want to think about is on this curve here, when we look at giving minerals to animals, and minerals play different roles. You have your micro minerals, your trace elements, your macro minerals, your vitamins. They play different roles. And ultimately we want a balanced level of them in the cattle's body. But if we have too little deficiency, but we must always remember when we're supplementing, particularly with likes of things like copper, we can go too far, we go toxicity as well. And some minerals like selenium, copper have a narrow window that maybe minerals like iodine or magnesium will have. So we need to be kind of mindful of that. I suppose if you're looking at your beef farm, when can you actually sample, what samples, and is it worth sampling in the first place? I think it is, because we talk about supplements and deficiencies and minerals. Could we not find out what's actually happening on the farm? And if I look at your suckler seasonal system, silage analysis, so you can do forage silage analysis, which will do mineral samples roughly in the region of 75 to 80 euros. You get a really comprehensive minerals analysis done on silage. You can actually get minerals tested on silage after it's cut, so you can do that in advance. The other thing I would say is you can do blood, so certain minerals, if you look at, if we look at minerals that are important now, but all the time, selenium and iodine can be tested on blood, so you can do bloods. And again, if I suppose focusing on this time of year, because one of the questions came about what minerals do I need for fertility and breeding in the beef herd, and look at grass sampling. So if I look at every 3 to 4 weeks taking a grass sample and maybe freezing it and setting it off as a composite sample, we're getting an idea of what the minerals are like in the herbage. If I know what it's like in the forages, if I know what it's like in the bloods. Now, one of the things when you go to the factory, you might check for copper and cobalt, they're sheep or cattle. So copper, certainly in livers in the factory. I'm starting to build a picture for my farm about what samples I need to take, what minerals are deficient. And if I look at silage sampling, if I'm going from the pit, you go with a W, you're going like say a small handful out of each portion of the fresh pit face into a bag, and that will give me a good sample. I'm generally looking for the silages going into the dry cows, because if you look at the dry cows, calcium, magnesium, selenium, iodine, these are really important. So probably from your silage analysis, that's important. But it'll also give you an indicator if you're finishing cattle, because minerals play a role when you're finishing animals as well. But I think grass sampling is probably something we underutilise for minerals, particularly over rotations. You can actually freeze a sample, so you can actually do maybe every 3 weeks do a grass sample, and you could have 12 weeks 4 samples, and you could send them off to get a composite mineral sample. Again, it'll tell you what minerals are could be playing a role or not playing a role in cattle performance. So if we think about our cows and calves are going out to grass, second grazers, any animals we're trying to finish, some of the minerals there, magnesium obviously, grass tetanus still the big one at this time of year for suckler cows, even though they don't have the same risk maybe as your dairy cow. It's still a risk there, probably for your suckler cow, because the stress is at weaning time. Selenium and iodine both can play a role in breeding and fertility, so they're important minerals to get right at this stage of the year. I think they also play a role in thriving cattle, so that would be my opinion. Copper, again, it's an important mineral all year round, but most of our copper issues in our farm occur out of grass when cattle are on maybe high molybdenum, there's sulfur, there's iron issues, and you get lockup of copper, and that can cause a huge range of issues. Because when we talk about minerals, it's very hard to pinpoint some of the functions, because they have such a huge role in the body. Copper is enzyme functions, immunity, so it's an important one to get right. And then again, zinc, and you're down to cobalt, very important with lambs, but there's an increasing focus on it in calves as well. So in your suckler herd, you want to, coming up to breeding time, you want to have a good handle of minerals. You want to know what's in the grass. you want to be careful that you don't over supplement, but you don't have any deficiencies. And the way we can do that is through testing, silage analysis and grass analysis. And if you need to go after bloods, probably selenium and iodine are very reliable. And then when you're looking at copper, liver certainly, and looking at other risk factors in the soil, like whether you're high molybdenum or not. And it's about building a mineral picture for your beef herd, because minerals aren't going to cause all your problems, but we do need to make sure they're supplemented correctly, particularly I suppose at all times of the year, but now with the grazing season it's very important also. Okay, thought for today, very simple one. I'm asking questions about minerals, and a very smart person said to me one time, they said, when you're doing any research or any investigation on farms, and the questions you ask need to be good questions. So what that is depends on the topic, but today's thought for today is always try and ask good questions. Happy safe farming.